So last week I started the new series Kitchen Quest where I'm going to try recipes that I've never tried before, or try making things I've never tried before. Continuing with that, this week I'm going to be attempting to make zucchini lasagna. Mostly because our zucchini plant outside is ginormous and I need to find a more effective way to use up the zucchini rather than just putting it all in my eggs in the morning. I already have a really good marinara sauce recipe, so I'm going to make that today ahead of time and then stick it in the fridge and then make the lasagna tomorrow. I'm kind of hodgepodging recipes together. I looked up a few different recipes to get a general idea of the temperature and the time that the whole finished casserole with the zucchini should go into the oven for, so I could get a good idea and estimate of what to try first. The consensus seems to be the low and slow theory. So between 350 degrees and 375 degrees for around 45 minutes. So I'm gonna try that first and see how it works out. This series is all about the first attempts and the mistake and the trial and error that goes into making new things. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's trial and error, and then we'll find out what works best together. First things first, we're going to make the marinara sauce, and then tomorrow assemble and bake the casserole. Let's go. For the marinara sauce, I start off with about 2 to 3 cloves of garlic minced, some red pepper flakes, and a little bit of oregano. I add that to the pan with a little bit of oil. I let that fry in the oil for a couple seconds before adding some diced onion, and then about maybe a tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Make sure you give that a good stir because the tomato paste can stick together really well and be very clumpy until it heats up all the way. Then I add a whole can of San Marzano tomatoes. I like to use the diced ones because it just makes it easier. I don't have to blend the sauce after it's cooked, but you could use whole tomatoes here if you wanted to. The peeled kind make it a lot easier. Then cover it and let it simmer for 45 minutes to an hour. Uncover, stir it up, add some salt and pepper to taste, which means taste it, to make sure it's seasoned how you like it. Now what I like to do at the end to add a little bit more thickness and kind of a silkiness to the sauce is add 1 or 2 tablespoons of butter and stir it up and let it melt in there. That's kind of my secret ingredient. Now to contend with cutting the zucchini. This is actually kind of tricky because zucchini is round, so it's very easy to cut your fingers. So be very careful when you're doing this. What I did was cut off each end, and then I made slits in the top to help me guide my knife through when I laid the zucchini down to cut it. Since the casserole was going to be in the oven for 45 minutes, I didn't want to cut the zucchini too thin because then it'd end up being really soggy and squishy, and I still wanted it to have some texture and chew to it. So if you leave it a little bit thicker, then it'll still retain some of that chew when it's all done. And I decided to add some ground beef to mine, so I just went ahead and browned it in a pan. And since I made the sauce the night before, I took it out of the fridge and added it to the pan to stir up with the meat so that it created one kind of meat sauce together instead of the meat and the sauce being separate in the casserole. And it heated up the sauce all the way through, so it came out really nicely, and I would do that again. Now for the cheese. I always thought the cheese in lasagna was just ricotta cheese, which I'm sure you can do, but I actually found a recipe that had 1 egg, a bit of Parmesan, and a whole container of ricotta. This came out really nice. The Parmesan added a tang flavor, and I'm sure that the egg helps hold it together. At least that's my guess. I'll put the recipe that I found in the description so you guys can get it too if you like. And I chose to spray the casserole dish with some Pam just to make cleanup easier for myself. And then I started to assemble. I put a layer of sauce on the bottom, followed by a zucchini, however I could fit it best. Some of the pieces were really long, so I had to cut them to make them fit. And then I'd put a layer of cheese, followed by sauce, followed by zucchini, followed by more cheese. You get the idea. I ended up baking this at 400 degrees for 45 minutes. It was cooked all the way through and it was really nice and done, so I think that that worked out really well. I did remove the lid at around 40 minutes and to let the top of the cheese get kind of broiled on the top. Ooh. Ooh, I like the chew on the zucchini. Maybe because I cut them a little bit thicker, but they have a soft texture, but still chew. They're not like mush, which is how I like them, because if they're just mushy, it's not pleasant. The meat and the sauce is really good, and the cheese is good. Yum. This is like comfort food. I might need a piece of bread at the end to like wipe it up. Although that kind of defeats the purpose of it being zucchini instead of pasta, because you're presumably eating the zucchini rather than the pasta so that you can have like lower carbs. I think I'm gonna keep this and make it again. It's really good. If you like this video or you learned something, give it a like. If you'd like to learn more, subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.